A local health official reacts to the CDC updating its guidance on vaccinated people wearing masks indoors.
Lawmakers signal they've reached a deal on the bipartisan physical infrastructure plan. I'm Natalie Brand with the president's response, plus the proposal he announced in Pennsylvania today.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Barton County, Missouri Health Department is now requiring face masks within the department. This is KOAM News at 5. The policy changed today, a day after the CDC updated their masking guidance to say that everyone should wear masks indoors in parts of the country with high COVID cases, even if they're fully vaccinated. But Joel Dermott, the administrator at the Barton County Health Department in Lamar, says their local change has less to do with what the CDC said and more to do with what they're seeing locally.
The last month or so, we have been seeing some cases through contact tracing where we had breakthrough cases where people are fully vaccinated, and in doing that, we were beginning to see some indicators that they were perhaps transmitting the virus themselves.
We asked several healthcare organizations today if the CDC's guidance update will impact their policies. We're going to have what they said and hear more from Dermott tonight at 6. Today marks the 150th anniversary of a milestone in the formation of Joplin, and some people gathered to mark the occasion. On this date in 1871, one of Joplin's founding fathers, John C. Cox, filed a plat known as Joplin City with the state of Missouri. That was 2 years before Joplin was actually incorporated, but lots became available for sale.
So the lots, once they plotted it, with John C. Cox did that, then with the understanding that we were going to build residence, we're going to build commercial buildings, and I'm not sure they ever dreamt that where we'd be today, but this is what their work and their hard effort prevailed.
Today's commemoration at the corner of Cox Avenue and Central Street was the site of the first plot sold. The buyer, Henry Blockwell, built a home there. Checking in with Nick Kelly now. It remains very hot out there, Nick.
And very humid as well, Dal. Today, especially one of those days where looks can be deceiving. Partly to mostly sunny skies inside of the range line. Sure, it looks nice with nothing showing up on the radar network now and throughout the entire day so far. But this is our big weather story. Excessive heat warnings now. These went into effect during the 11 o'clock hour this morning. These will be in effect until 9 o'clock, and everybody else has to deal with heat advisories because it's going to stay very hot and very humid as early as a Thursday night, tomorrow night that is. Still hot, most of us lower to mid 90s, but you factor in the humidity, feels like 103 to almost 108 degrees, especially out in the Odyssey. This is dangerous heat and humidity that will start to recede temporarily once we go past sunset. 83 by 10, 80 by midnight. Thinking mid 70s for tonight, another hot and humid dangerous day ahead of us now before relief comes our way. Full forecast in a bit.
See you then. Stage is being set in the Senate for a second procedural vote on a roughly $1 trillion physical infrastructure bill. Members of the bipartisan negotiating group announced they've come to an agreement on the major issues. President Biden also spoke about infrastructure while visiting Pennsylvania today to push his new plan to increase federal investment in American-made goods. Natalie Brand reports from the White House.
Tonight, I'm intending to call a vote to move to proceed to the bipartisan infrastructure bill.
Following weeks of talks, the Senate is preparing to take another procedural vote to begin debate on a physical infrastructure package, with Republican members of the bipartisan negotiating group acknowledging a deal.
We have reached agreement on the major issues.
A previous procedural vote failed to move forward last week after Republicans say they needed more time. While lawmakers say the details of this latest deal are still being finalized, they believe they can get it passed.
I'm confident that we will be able to get it across the finish line.
President Biden said he also feels confident about the infrastructure legislation during a trip to eastern Pennsylvania.
While there's a lot we don't agree on, I believe that we should be able to work together on the few things we do agree on.
The president toured a Mack truck manufacturing facility while pushing his administration's new Buy American rule.
We're going to make the biggest enforcement changes to the Buy America Act in 70 years.
The proposed rule would require goods purchased by the federal government with taxpayer money to contain at least 60% of U.S.-made content, up from the current 55%. The administration wants that increased to 75% by 2029.
They got a new sheriff in town. We're going to be checking.
The proposed rule would not take effect until after a 60-day review period. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, the White House.
The president's Buy America rule proposal is also intended to shore up critical supply chain issues for many goods, including semiconductors. In a statement, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce says it looks forward to giving input to the administration, but it believes purchasing quotas are ineffective and costly. The suspect in a California movie theater shooting is captured by police. Authorities say Joseph Jimenez shot and killed a woman and critically injured a man at a theater in the city of Corona, California, Monday night. Jimenez is charged with murder, attempted murder, and robbery. His bail set at $2 million. No word yet on a motive for that shooting. Still ahead, finding solutions to pollution problems.
Reducing waste one box at a time. And Fami Redwood with an environmentally friendly shipping solution that doesn't cost customers any extra money.
And next in Health Watch, a look at the recent push by superstar athletes putting the focus on mental health. Topping Health Watch today, dementia cases worldwide are expected to triple by 2050. According to the Alzheimer's Association, as the population continues to age, cases are rising and so are deaths. But researchers say making lifestyle changes and better education on prevention can help. Athletes like gymnast Simone Biles and tennis player Naomi Osaka are raising awareness about making mental health a priority. Both stepped away from major competitions to focus on mental health. Elise Preston has more.
Gymnast Simone Biles joins other high-profile athletes who have opened up about their mental health struggles, like tennis player Naomi Osaka and gold medal swimmer Michael Phelps. She's receiving a huge outpouring of support after withdrawing from the women's gymnastics team final and individual all-around to focus on her mental health. Three-time Olympic gymnast Dominique Dawes says she can relate.
I remember stepping out into the Georgia Dome before the 1996 Olympic Games, and prior to doing that, having an emotional breakdown, just feeling all the pressure that Team USA felt from needing to make history. I love the fact that she listened to herself and she did what was best for her mental health.
We have brave athletes talking openly about the realities of what it means to come up against a mental health difficulty. They are working to take the shame out of mental health concerns, to have us treat mental health concerns just as we would treat physical health concerns, that they can be talked about.
Psychologist Dr. Lisa D'Amour is a contributor for CBS News.
If you're experiencing a mental health difficulty, what's important is that you don't ignore it. Reach out to someone you love and trust and talk with them about what's going on. If that doesn't provide the relief you need and deserve, consider reaching out to a mental health professional or even your family physician.
Dr. D'Amour believes we should take an attitude of humility and respect for anyone choosing to share their experience with mental health, including those in the public eye. Elise Preston, CBS News.
The International Olympic Committee increased mental health resources ahead of the Games. Psychologists and psychiatrists are on the site, and a helpline was established before athletes, before, during, and for 3 months after the Games. Marginalized groups are more likely to miss getting a heart diagnosis for heart failure. According to the American Heart Association, many women, Black adults, and people living with low incomes are not diagnosed until they're hospitalized or visit the ER. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, our pet vet on call.
Hi, I'm Dr. Eva Dudek from Parsons Pet Hospital. Coming up, we're going to talk about a puppy with megasophagus.
And while I have a few more hot and humid days to track, thankfully, there is relief in sight. We'll get to the forecast next. And we continue on our hot streak yet again toward today, a day where it looked nice but definitely did not feel nice at all to be outside. As far as actual air temperatures go, we hit the mid-90s yesterday. Only dropped back into the mid, even some upper 70s this morning. And the highest we've been so far is 95 at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. And at that time, we had dew points of 77, so it felt like 110 during that hour at Joplin Regional Airport. So even though there isn't really a lot going on in the skies upstairs, this is our main and big weather headline. Excessive heat warnings now. These went into effect during the 11 o'clock hour before we hit the noon hour for much of the area. But even if you aren't under the excessive heat warnings, these are heat advisories that'll take us into tomorrow evening because we have yet another day of dangerous heat and humidity. And I think there's a good chance that those levels stay pretty high as we go into Saturday, with the worst time to be outside, sticking with what Doug's been saying over the past day or so, 2 in the afternoon until about 6 o'clock in the evening. Then once we get past 6 o'clock, that's when the heat and humidity really starts to drop, especially after sunset. Fortunately, there is a front on the way by the weekend with rain and relief from the heat. Not for today, though. Even though it looks nice with partly to mostly sunny skies, it is hot at 93. Feels like 100, though, with the dew point dropping off a bit, at least at 71 degrees. But everyone's hot and humid. As cool, which is not a nice way to put it, really. 92 in the Beta, so about 96 in Chanute. Everybody else right in between the two numbers. But you factor in the dew points between 70 and 77 degrees. It feels like either 99 in Carthage or 109 over in Chanute. Again, once we get past certainly 6, 8 o'clock, these levels will drop, but still 83 by 10, 80 by midnight, and only mid-70s again for tonight. So we don't have anything going on here. I will be watching for thunderstorms to really erupt along this frontal boundary. This will start to play a role in our forecast down the line once we get this upper level ridge to break down. Until it does, this is what's going to keep the heat and humidity on the high side as we go through not only tomorrow, but into the start of the coming weekend. At the very least, it'll look nice. We'll see skies turn mostly clear overnight. Very warm start with most of us in the mid-70s. And despite some passing clouds, it is going to be another hot one. 75 in the morning, 91 by noon, highs near 96. And we'll just do it again for Friday. Dropping back into the mid-70s, back into the mid-90s. But ahead of the approaching front, we do know some thunderstorms wanting to work into Missouri. Unfortunately, that does not come our way until, again, we start to work deep into Saturday. As far as heat indices go, it's going to feel like 104 to 110, maybe 111 for tomorrow before we drop back for Friday morning. And even though the levels drop a little bit in the heat and a little humidity drop as well, still going to feel like 100 to 105 as we go into Friday. So, alert days for the heat and humidity tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday with highs around 95, 96. Then the front brings some thunderstorm chances late Saturday into Sunday, and behind it, much needed relief from the heat. We'll have highs back in the mid-80s starting Sunday.
Won't that be welcome?
That's going to be a treat.
Yes. Thanks. Coming up, how a new startup is looking to reduce waste through shipping packaging. First, though, we honor a local World War II veteran. Hubert Daly served in the U.S. Army from 1939 to 44. Fort Scott, Kansas Navy was stationed in France, Germany, Holland, and Belgium. And we salute Corporal Hubert Daly, a four-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, supply chain problems are hitting school cafeterias as students get ready to return in person. According to the Wall Street Journal, schools all across the country are struggling to secure food for breakfast and lunch. Among the top items in short supply, chicken tenders, hamburger patties, and juice boxes. And schools are scrambling to trim menus and find cooks. More than $1 trillion in federal coronavirus-related funds remains unspent. That's according to the Government Accountability Office. That figure includes money approved by the Department of Health and Human Services and $210 billion that the White House set aside for state and local governments. McCormick is recalling 3 of its seasonings over possible salmonella contamination. The seasonings include Perfect Pinch Italian, Culinary Italian, and Frank's Red Heart Buffalo Ranch. Select Walmart, Target, and Kroger stores sold the products. If you have one, McCormick says throw it away, and you can contact the company for a full refund. Online shopping has led to billions of boxes being sent to Americans every year. But it comes with tons of packaging waste and harmful emissions from trucks. Well, now a new startup is trying to change that. Reporter Famie Redwood has more.
Mother of three Alexis Hochleitner does a lot of her shopping online, and that increased even more during the pandemic.
My husband jokes that every day that ends in a Y, there's like a brown box appearing at your door.
Concerned about the environmental impact, she decided to try something new called Olive. The app allows Hochleitner to buy from hundreds of retailers. Orders are delivered to her home once a week in a reusable tote, even if they're from different stores.
Shorts, yeah.
No packaging. Wow.
No packaging.
Here's how it works. When customers buy through Olive, the retailer sends multiple orders at once in traditional packaging to Olive's warehouse. Olive places the items in the reusable tote and then recycles the cardboard and plastic, which often end up in the garbage.
Those usually end up in typical waste streams because they're hard to recycle at home.
Olive founder Nate Faust is now working to have retailers send Olive's totes directly to shoppers, eliminating more waste.
We're seeing about a 20% reduction in the number of shipments that would be going to a consumer's home for their purchases through this consolidation.
He says fewer shipments reduce pollution from delivery trucks. Other companies do something similar. Some retailers are using reusable packaging from Repack to ship their products. And Loop sells hundreds of household items in reusable containers.
There's a lot of things that I try to set an example for my children and fail miserably, but I think it's super easy to be able to set an example with recycling.
And she hopes this environmentally friendly form of shipping will be an example for more businesses to follow. Famie Redwood, CBS News, New York.
There is no additional shipping cost to use Olive. Final check of the forecast next.
Salon service is paying.
The CBS Evening News is next. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to have more reaction from local health officials about the CDC's recent indoor masking guidance update. Plus, Freeman health officials say they're keeping an eye on a contagious fungus spreading through states, including a case in Missouri. And the Better Business Bureau gives out some fraud prevention tips to college students. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Some health disorders can afflict humans or our pets, and today's question for our Pet Vet on Call concerns one of those disorders. Carol writes, we have a puppy with megasophagus. She's on a prescription diet and they say she needs surgery to fix this. Both are very expensive. I don't know what to do.
This could end up very heartbreaking because most dogs with megasophagus die of malnutrition and or aspiration pneumonia. There are two types of puppy megasophagus. One is an obstruction from a birth defect. Yes, that needs surgery and pretty quickly before there's permanent damage done. If this is just a straightforward megasophagus, and although state of Missouri has some techniques that help, nothing really fixes it, but this could be reversible. And it's with management. You feed your puppy several meals a day, small meals, of a high quality, high protein, high calorie gruel in an upright sitting position, like vertical, like in a high chair. And then make her sit there for 15 minutes at least after every meal, and then just wait and pray. This could self-resolve.
Thanks for the question, Carol. We invite questions from everyone. If you have one, you just send it to petvet@koamtv.com. Dr. Eva Dudek from the Parsons Pet Hospital answers a different question every Wednesday on KOAM News at 5. You can also find answers to previous questions on our website. Now let's check out our picks of the litter for the week. From the Joplin Humane Society, we've chosen this young female pointer mix named Whiskey with a very pleasant expression on her face. I'm from the Southeast Kansas Humane Society. We've chosen this 18-month-old cat named Quail, another cutie. If you're looking for a pet, hope you check out your local Humane Society. They always have a lot of great ones. If you are planning to walk your pet anytime soon, be sure that you are aware that those sidewalks are very hot right now.
Yeah.
You have to be careful. It's hot for all of us out there.
Yeah, and in general, if you have to walk the dog, best to wait until after 6 or 7 o'clock. That's when the worst of the heat and humidity will be done for today. But still, it's going to stick around through Saturday. 96 tomorrow, mid-90s through Saturday. Once we hit Sunday, though, behind a passing cold front, we'll get that much-needed relief from the heat.
Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. And, of course, we're going to be right back here for KOIM News at 6. See you then. Let's make it a great evening.